Google Meet boy. Pre-chargy boy. I see in a while. I feel like I saw that name before. Hey Kayla, after hours, what's up? Oh, thanks for sharing. Sweet Reds boy. Oh, you're good. James Mulrain. James, good evening. How you doing? I'm facing away from my mic here, James. So if I sound low, that's because I'm facing away from my mic, as I said. Okay, cool. Alright. I shall. Yeah, Kayla, all right. It's in Shan, okay. Yeah, one beer. Oh, okay, started already. Alright, cool. Yeah, I was trying to give my class a while to reach, but yeah, I have two people on the inside and nobody in the WhatsApp, in the Google Meet, so yeah. You know. Oh, here's Liam. Hey, good evening, Liam. How you doing? Yeah, good job, you. Alright, so we're doing the Jan 2024 today. Let's zoom in. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to do that. Then we'll start. Just check something real quick. From there. Sorry. This, I was responding to one of my former students from back in the day. He have a little TikTok channel now talking about finance. Because he's clearly into finance. Okay, interesting. Alright, cool.
2024 John and 2022 John is practically the same people.
Yeah.
Like, I watched it today and I was like, it's an
It's like
exact
Spider-Man.
question. But like a 1, 2 in between. Do the John, do you think Johns are more intense than the June?
No.
Or
They're
the
both the
same?
same. And they have questions that on both of them.
I find John is easier. Really? Yeah. Because I know they did John. I think I did 2 Junes and now one John.
Yeah.
So I have to do another June. What to do this June?
Okay. You did May 2024? You did last year's report?
No.
I would say do at least 2023 and 2024.
I did the last year. I did those. I didn't do 2024. I didn't do 25 John. So maybe I should do the last 2.
Yeah, 2024 May and 25 January. Yeah,
you could forward them to me digitally as well. So
yeah, okay.
Maybe start it.
Yeah, I loaded it up. I sent out no Google Meet. Only one of these students came and 2 of the students came here, so I didn't really start going through anything yet.
What's May, June 2024?
Oh yeah, I have a copy there?
3. I just need 1 more.
One more? Alright, well there, but I'll send you a digital copy on WhatsApp one time. You wanted that one on the Jan 2025, is that? Alright, cool. So there was maybe other copies. Those are the examples here.
You know what that is?
That's what I do now.
This is May, June.
No, this
So this is Jan 24.
This is Jan 24. Yes, that's correct.
I like it, Ducky.
Alright, and May 24 is that right? You want a copy?
Read the copy. Let's see you want.
Grab a pen and you can go through them. I might put you in the hot seat to look at a couple of questions, eh? If you're okay being on camera.
The last few at the end, they were for me.
Okay, cool. Hey, Solomon, you know what you're doing? Okay, look, I sent you the Jan 25 and May 2024. Yeah. Alright, guys. Okay, so we're going to start momentarily. Why is that menu across there. Search notebooks. That's not supposed to be there. That's supposed to be across here. Okay, boom. No. Right, this one. More notebooks, right? Don't recall that being there. Anyhow, whatever. Alright. This one says CXE maths, right? Yeah. Because we're moving the point to the left, it will be positive. Okay, cool. 2B. Alright, some interesting comments there. Alright, James. I'm with James. Hey Lexi, how you going? Good to see you on. Alright. Okay, so in a couple of seconds I will start going through, and then we will see how the paper goes. Okay, let's take a swim. Alright, so the number 3.14063 we can correct at 3 decimal places. Alright, so 3.14063, okay, cool. So if we knock that, sorry, is that the correct thing there? No, it's not, okay. Maybe I could do that. Alright, so you put up, no, that's not 3 decimal places. So by the 0, so the 0 is the third digit to the right of the decimal point. But it's not going to be 3.140. Why? Because the digit next to the 0 is a 6. If it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, what does that cause us to do here? It causes us to round up by 1. So this will change to 3.141. So it's like a kind of close approximation of pi. Alright. Right. Antoine. Where's Antoine? Right, add one, right? Okay, so I've seen some comments there. Nana, right? Evening, Nana, right? Shugi, that's correct. Shy Pretty, what vibes? Yeah, I don't have Antoine on the inside. I didn't see him. Right, okay, so we've seen number 2 a few times, right? What percentage of 40 is 8? So how do we work that? We put the 8 over the 40 and multiply by 100 over 1. So, well, 8 goes into 8 one time and into 40 5 times. And 5 goes into 100 20 times. So our answer is 20. Right, and here again they're using this phrase, standard notation. So I know the standard form of scientific notation, so I guess standard notation is not to be a possibility. I've seen some printing. I don't know if all finished, but you can check it.
Well, I just printed that one.
Oh, that one? Yeah, one probably finished.
One page.
You ever saw it called, they have a standard notation. I know that's scientific notation or standard form.
Notation is also
A phrase that can be used.
a phrase that can be used.
Okay.
But they like to say scientific notation.
Yeah.
I think that was just
Yeah. For people on the
literally, I don't know what that is. I know this stuff.
Hey, Cypress, you too. The twin. How are you? Right. Right. So we have 208.06. So what is the basic premise with displaying a number in standard notation? We have to have one and only one non-zero digit to the left of the decimal point. So the other digits go to the right of it. Now obviously 2.0806 is not equal to 208.06. So the standard pieces where you have to multiply by 10 raised to the power. And that, oops, that wasn't the shape I was going for. Right? And that power is the number of spaces we have to move the decimal point to go back to the original position, which would be after the 8. So how many spaces is that? That looks like 2 spaces. To the right, and going to the right is positive. Just like on a number line. Going to the right is positive or increasing. Going to the left is negative or decreasing. So we have 2.0806 to the power 2. I think this question was there yesterday, but there was no correct answer because they had an extra zero or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is option C. Whoa, what are we doing? Third, what are we doing? Right, I have it there. Right, cool. Right, 1, 2, 3. Right, 4, 5. What is the least number of apples that can be shared equally among either 6, 10, or 15 children? Okay, so we're looking for the LCM of 6, 10, and 15. So one way you can do it is basically using the biggest number. You can do like a kind of times tables progression of that number and see which is the first number that is divisible by all. Right? Or, and the other hack you can use is any multiple of 10 must automatically end in a 0. And if that's the case, which of these options can we eliminate? We can eliminate A, because A doesn't end in a 0. Right? As a matter of fact, A is only divisible by 6, not by 10 or 15. Alright? Okay, so if you're not sure your multiples of 15, what were multiples of 10? 1 by 10 is 10, 2 by 10 is 20, 3 by 10 is 30. Aha! 30 could go into 6, and 15 by 2 is 30. And as we could see, it's a multiple of 10. So 30 is the answer. Right, now another way you can tackle this is by using prime factorization. Right, what do I mean by that? Well, if we consider the prime factors of 6, what are prime numbers again? Numbers that are only divisible by 1 and themselves. So 6 obviously is an even number. So it's divisible by 2. But 2 by what? 2 by 3. Now 2 has the distinction of being the only even prime number. Near, this is Jan 2024. Yeah. And 3 of course is a prime number because it's only 2 factors of 1 in itself. Now what about 10? 2 by 5. And both 2 and 5 are prime numbers. Now again, 2 is the only even prime number, and 5 is the only prime number that ends in a 5. Any other number ending in a 5 is automatically divisible by 5. Who that? Oh, Marcus. Alright. Oh, hey Marcus, good evening. Sorry, I think you were trying to get in before. Sorry about that, I got distracted with something on the outside there. Yeah, so we're doing Jan 2024, Marcus. We didn't miss too much, we're now on question 4. And most of the questions so far have been repeats. I believe I added you to the WhatsApp group, so the paper is there if you need it. But I could also, hold on, where's my groups? I can also forward it to you if you do not have it. Alright, there you go. Alright, so you can always pull it up there and try a question. Okay, if 350 is shared in the ratio 2 to 5, the largest share. Okay, so what do we do when we have a ratio with the digits? We add the digits together. 2 plus 5 is 7. And then we put each of those numbers over 7. Now the largest share will clearly be the 5 sevenths. So we'll take 5 sevenths and multiply by 350. Is that pink visible again? Oh yeah, okay, so it's a better contrast on your screen, okay. So 7 could go into 35 5 times, and hence into 350 50 times. And then 5 by 50, 5 by 5 is 25, and you add a 0, so that's just going to give us 250. Okay, alright, folks, how are we feeling with the first 5 questions then? Any questions, issues, problems? You're on 45? Okay, alright. Alright. I mean, see, well, maybe when it's done, kids can take a little peek and see how you went. Alright. Good, alright, lovely. Okay, so we saw number 6 yesterday. Right, it says here what? There are 40 students in a class. Girls make up 60% of the class and 25% of the girls wear glasses. How many girls in the class wear glasses? Okay, so that means we need to find 25% of the number of girls. The number of girls in the class is 60% of 40, right? So you can knock off a 0 there, next 0, and then 6 by 4 is 24. And then you're going to sum that up inside your head, right? So that's 24. So 25 into 100 goes 4 times, and 4 into 24 goes 6 times. So the answer here is just 6. Right? Or if you do in one line, 25% of 60% of 40. Right? If you do 25% of 60% of 40. Again, it will give you the same answer, 4 But whatever works for you, because again, you're not allowed to use your calculators in the multiple choice, so you have to know how to do these things without the calculator. Alright, lovely. One sec. There you go. Okay, cool. Where was we? Right, if the universal set U is the integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and H is 3, 4, and 6, and H complement, so that little tick there, or apostrophe or stroke, means the complement. Arjun, no problem, Arjun, no problem. You study for English, and hopefully see you tomorrow evening for the Jan 2025 paper. Right, the last hurrah before everything done. Alright, where were we? Sorry, one sec. Cool. And shift. Right, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, the complement means everything outside of that set. So the set H is 3, 4, and 6. So everything outside of that is the complement of H, which will be 1, 2, and 5, which is option B. Oh. Okay. Which of the following statements describes the set of integers from -3 to 6? So from -3 to 6. So that's -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Chris, this may not just repeat.
It's working here. Well, it's seeing it's a certificate. Right. 4, 5, and 6. So how do we notate that, right? So x would be greater than or equal to -3, but less than or equal to 6. So that's option C. And of course, they all have this little statement here, which means x is an element of integers. Z is the set of integers, whole numbers, positive or negative, including 0. But interestingly enough, it's neither positive nor negative. Alright. Yeah, man, Arjun. Later. Good luck tomorrow. Alright, question 9. If x and y are two finite sets, so finite sets are sets that have a countable number of elements, right? They are not uncountable, and hence not infinite, so they are finite. Such that the number of elements in x is 9, number in y is 10, but the number of elements in the union of x and y, as in if you put both sets together, like all the elements of both sets together, you get 15. So how does that make mathematical sense? If you have 9 plus 10, how does that equal to 15? Because 9 plus 10 is 19, right? The only way for that to make sense is if you subtract 4. So the question is, why would we subtract 4? What would that represent? And what it would represent is actually exactly what we're looking for. The number of people or elements in the sets that lie in both x and y. So if you want to see a Venn diagram, right? I don't know how I'm going to square. I believe I could draw a rectangle, but let's try it again. Okay, there you go. Right, so you have the circle.
I think there was 2 questions.
And another circle. Cool. Right, so you have x and you have y. Now, if we don't know how many elements are in the intersection, we could put just a letter. I feel like x would be a little redundant, but so we could use an n for redundant. So what if we wait? Let's just use a. Why not? So a is there, right? So the number of elements in x is 9. So the whole circle is 9, including this part, which is already. So imagine this number first. Just imagine for a second this number was 2, right? Right? It's not 2, right? But we're just going to imagine for a second, right? So it means that if the whole of x is 9 and this piece of x is 2, the remainder would be 9 minus whatever that piece is, 9 minus 2, which is 7. So of course we'll put 8 because that's what is there. Alright? Now across here in set y we have 10, but it's going to be similarly 10 minus 8. Alright? So again, what you can do now is you can add up all of those. 9 minus a plus 10 minus 8, and putting that all together gives us 15. Right? Now minus a plus a will cancel. 9 and 10 is 19, and 19 minus a is equal to 15. So a has no choice but to be equal to 4. Right? Or we could use the formula that we've been using all the time. And what is that formula, right? So the number of elements in X intersect Y is equal to the number in X plus the number in Y minus the number in X union Y. Right, so the number in X is how much? That's 9. The number in Y is 10, minus 15, which is exactly what happened down there, right? So we got 19 minus 15, which is equal to 4. Okay. Alright, so that's most of the stuff there. Alright. Is it important to spend so much time on one question? Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just doing it different ways so that it might resonate with different people. So do you post that anywhere after? So yeah, on YouTube. The same name as this channel, right? Okay. Liam and Marcus, just give me a quick G if you're good with this question. Well, sorry, if you're good with this page. I know Marcus came in a bit late, so he didn't. Oh, I didn't share it. Thank you. Alright. Cool. Liam R. Liam, which one? Which number? Okay, if you give me the R, you give me the number. The last one there with the sets. Yeah, alright, okay, cool. Alright, so let's not worry about the diagram. Okay, can I move the diagram elsewhere? Alright. Yeah, Liam. Right, so basically what we're saying is that you're working in the green is the one you should focus on, right? So, if we have 9 elements in set X and 10 elements in set Y, right? But we have, if you put all of them together, if you put all the elements in X and all the elements in Y together, you get 15. So again, how could 9 plus 10 equal to 15? The answer is it can't, right? 9 plus 10 is equal to 19. And the only way to get from 19 to 15 is to minus 4. And that would be the number of elements in the intersection, right? Which is basically what I did down here, right? I did 9 plus 10, which is 19, and then I subtracted 15 from that to find the 4. Alright, so I hope that helps a little bit. Yeah, you can let me know. Alright. Alright. Okay, good. Alright. In class, people, are we okay with page 1? Any questions, anybody, anything? Anything? Good? Alright. People, how are we doing there? Yeah? Alright. Is there any preference, any topics you want to work? Pick up Rose, no? And let me know. You want to work in any of these sets questions or you're not a fan of sets? No? Yes, that's what happened was they stopped putting it on paper 2 in 2016 come forward. Or even before that. And because of that, teachers stopped teaching it as much. You might see it in like Form 3, maybe Form 4. But because it wasn't a priority for the paper 2, most teachers don't move it. They say do that in the multiple choice. Yeah, so most people don't know their way around sets, unfortunately. And sets is a very, I mean, they are all important parts of mathematics, but sets is important. Alright. Okay, so item 10 refers to the following Venn diagram. So we've seen this before, and the shaded region is the intersection. Alright? Oh, no, blem. Okay, I have to tell you understand better then. Right? In the Venn diagram, X represents the set of factors of 12. Alright, so X is the set of factors. So we have 1 by 12, 2 by 6, 3 by 4. Right, Y represents the set of factors of 9. So that's 1 by 9 and 3 by 3. The shaded region represents the set of all factors of what? Oh, the set of all factors of, right, so the shaded region is X intersect Y, as in which elements are common in both sets. So 1 and 3. And 1 and 3 are the factors of 3, right? And that's what they're asking for. The shaded region represents the set of all factors of 3. So it's interesting way to ask that question. Cool. Which of the following pairs of sets is an example of disjoint sets? So disjoint sets are sets that have no common elements or no intersection. Alright? So option A says whole numbers and rational numbers. So whole numbers are integers, like 2, 3, 4. Rational numbers are any numbers that can be written as fractions. For example, a half, 1/3, 1/4. And any integer can be simply written as over 1. Right? So rational numbers are numbers that can be written as fractions. So integers can also be written as fractions. Right? So they definitely have at least some intersection there. I think whole numbers is a subset of rational, yeah. Multiples of 5 and multiples of 10, well, yeah, all the multiples of 10 are multiples of 5, for sure. Multiples of 2 and 3, no, they have an intersection. Every even number. Well, sorry, not every even. The even multiples of 3. And option B. So normally that would have been option A. So they changed it this time. Alright, even numbers and odd numbers. Right, so that's definitely two disjoint sets because there are no even numbers that are also odd and vice versa. They're either odd or they're even. You can even say that they're complementary sets. They're the complement of each other. Alright, okay, that's 11. Number 12, right, so the 30 students in teacher May's class have either a dog, D, or a cat, C, or none of the two. So they either have a dog or a cat or neither. All the students who have a cat also have a dog. Right, so in that case, the set of people who own cats will be totally inside of the set of people who have dogs. So that's option D. Right? And there are 16 people who have dogs, 12 who have cats, and those 12 people are part of the 16. So you have the 12 people who own cats, and everybody who owns a cat also owns a dog. And then there are also 4 people who own dogs but not cats. Right? So you either own a cat or a dog or both. But as you can see, if you own a cat, you automatically own a dog. Right? And 12 and 4 is 16, and there were 30 students in the class, which means there are 14 people who own neither. Alright. Yeah, so that one could be a little tricky. Okay, Liam and Marcus, if you guys are good with that, just kindly give me a quick G in the chat. Please and thanks. If you need me to re-explain, that's not a problem, just let me know. Alright, cool. Oh, hold on, let me finish my rule. Right, so Liam and Marcus are here. Nyla and Paige are here. And Julie and Khalifa are also here. Right, cool. Right, so are there a lot of repeats so far? Yes, Anonymous. All of the questions so far have been repeats. So, yeah. Alright, 11 repeats. Yeah. Alright, cool. Oh, sorry, wait, in class. Yeah, ladies, you're okay with this EPA with the sets question here? Any questions, problems, issues you want me to address? No? Okay, cool. Alright. Okay. Oh, you're correct. Okay, cool. Right, excluding sales tax, how much will be saved when a video which costs $12 is sold at a 20% discount? How much will be saved? Okay, cool. So the discount is what you're going to save, right? So basically you're going to find 20% of $12. Right? So you can knock off a 0, 2 into 2 is 1, into that. Or you can actually do it this way is easier. Don't cancel that. So 2 by 12 will give us 24. And you have 24 over 10. And 24 over 10 is actually 24 divided by 10. And what do we do when we divide by 10? With the decimal point, which is here. We shifted one space to the left. So what we would get is $2.40. Yeah. I don't think we saw this question before. We've seen some that are very, very similar to it. Right? So $2.40 is the 20% discount, right? Another way you could work it, if for example that was a little like you couldn't really manage 20%, you could always say, okay, 20% is 2 times 10%. And finding 10% is pretty easy, right? So if we found 10% of $12, that will give us 1.2. And then you multiply that by 2 and get 2.4. Right? So again, because we don't have calculators, it can be a little tricky for some people. So you can have some flexibility. That's how you approach things, right? Hey, look EC. But they took out the 10-cent tax, right? if EC $2.50 is equivalent to $1, then EC $20 in US is. Alright, so again, the straightforward way to do it is to say, okay, look, I have 20 here, and I have my information for 250. So every 250 gives me $1. So I need to know how many 250 portions are in 20. So one way to work it is to simply take 20 and divide by 2.5. Right, now again, you could do it straight on, long division. But you can say, okay, look, divided by 2.5. 2.5 is 2.5, right? 2.5 is 5 over 2. And once the protocol for when you divide in fractions, ladies, you change divide to multiply and you include the divisor. 5 will go to 20, 4 times, and 4 by 2 will give us 8. Alright? Now the other way to do it is slightly longer way, but again, something it might make sense to some people, right? So you say, okay, look, I'm not sure what to do here, but I know I have to go up from 250 to 20. If I double 250, I'll get $5, right? But then I'll double here too, so I'll have $2 US. And now to go from 5 to 20, I can multiply that by 4, which means I'm going to multiply this by 4 as well. And if I multiply 2 by 4, I'm going to get $8. Right? So you have different ways to do it. Alright? Again, there's no one correct way, but there are multiple ways you can approach it. Alright, the cash price. Oh, we know this one already. Is it 45? The cash price of a television set is $350. When bought on hire purchase, a deposit of $35 is required. Okay? Followed by 12 monthly payments of $30. How much is saved by paying cash? Okay, so your deposit is $35, and then you pay 12 monthly installments of $30 each. 12 by 3 is 36, so 12 by 13 is $360. When you add those two together, you get $395. And if we compare that to $350, we could see that we save $45 if we pay cash. Alright, good job for TikTok people. Right? Okay. A company employs 20. Oh, we saw this one the other day. This one was a little more in depth, a little more layers. Company employs 20 persons as gardeners and clerks. The mean daily wage of all of the employees is $22.40. If each of the 12 gardeners is paid $26 per day, then the daily amount paid to each of the 8 clerks is okay. To find the average, right? I didn't put it as a 14. Oh, shucks. Thanks. I keep doing that. Thank you, Owen. Right, so to find the mean daily wage of all, I'd have to add up all of the salaries and then divide by, well, 20, because that's all of the people, right? But they told me I have 12 gardeners and they are paid 26 per day, right? So what I could do is I could multiply 26 by 12, right? So again, you can break it up. You can do distributive law. You can do 20 by 12 plus 6 by 12, because 26 is 20 plus 6, right? 0 by 12 is 0, 2 by 12 is 24. So you have 240 plus 72, right? Now again, you can break that up too. You can do 240 plus 70, and then add it 2, so that's 312. Right, so the total salary of all of the gardeners is 312. And then I was also told that for all 20, the mean is 2240. So what I could do is I could reverse that. To get the mean, I'd have to take total salary and divide by 20, and that will give me 2240. So to find the total salary, I can multiply by 20, right? So I can do 2240, then multiplied by 20, which will give me $448. Again, if you're not sure how I did that, I shifted the decimal point in 22.4, one space to the right, and shifted it back in 20, one space to the left. Right, 8, 4. Right, so now, if the total amount of salary is 448, and the salary of all the gardeners is 312, 8 minus 2 is 6, 4 minus 1 is 3, and 1. Right? And I have 8 clerks, right? So what I then have to do is I then have to take 136 and divide by 8. Now check this. You could do a plain old 136, sorry, oh yeah, 8 into 136, right? 8 into 13 goes 1 time, remainder 5, and you can bring a 6 down, and then 8 into 50 goes 7 times. So your answer is 17, right? If dividing by 8 doesn't work well for you, you could divide by 2 3 times. What does that mean? If I take what, is that showing up? Is that green showing? Yeah, maybe not right color on that.
Orange.
Well, let me see if orange works well.
Orange would probably be right.
Right. So if I take one, oh yeah, wow, yeah. 136 divided by 2. 2 into 13 goes 6 times remainder 1, and then 2 into 16 goes 8 times. Right, so then that's 60. 60 divided by 2 will give me 34. And 34 divided by 2 is 17. Right, so dividing by 2 3 consecutive times is the same as dividing by 8. Because if you think about it, 17 over 8 is the same as 17 over 2 by 2 by 2. Anyhow, again, oh, I got 312? Yeah. I took 26, which was the number of, which was the daily wage of each gardener, and then multiply by the number of gardeners. Alright? I just split up 26 into 20 plus 6, and I used the sugar law. Right? So I did like a 12 by 20 plus 6. 12 by 20 was the 240, 12 by 6 was the 72, and then I added them together to get the 312. Live freezing? Really? Hey, Kenya, how you doing? I didn't see you. Sorry, I was doing some work there. Alright, Owen, not sure of that. Okay, cool. Right. Lovely. Right, so that's number 16. Let's see what else we have. 17. A man's annual salary is 45,000. His tax-free allowance is total 13,000. He has to pay income a tax of 20% on his taxable income. Okay. So if you take your 45,000 and you minus your 13,000, you get 32,000. And then he pays 20% on that, right? So you can multiply that by 20% if you want. Right. So now you have 3,200 by 2, which is 6,400. I feel we saw that question before because I feel 6,400 is familiar. Alright, a salesman sells a car for 10,500. If he is paid a commission of 5% for the first 10,000 and 8% on the remainder, then the total commission he receives is. Okay, so he's paid 2 different percentages on different parts of the earnings. The total earnings is 10,500. Now he's paid 5% on the first 10,000. So 10,000 by 5%, right? And then 8% on the remainder. Well, if you take 10,000 from 10,005, the remainder is 500. Alright? So 10% is that. So 5% will give us 500. 8% will give us 40. And when you add those two together, you get 540. Violence. That's what it is. Tough love. Right. Oh, we've seen 19 before. A man's basic wage for a 40-hour work week is $160. He is paid $5 per hour for overtime. If he works 6.5 hours overtime on a certain week, then his wage for that week is right. So the wage for that week would be the basic wage plus the overtime. So what we want to find is the overtime. So he works 6.5 hours at $5 per hour. So 6 by 5 is 30. A half of 5 is 250. So he gets 32.50 for the overtime. And if the regular wage is 160, then the total earnings is 192.50. Right, and number 20 now. A calculator which is marked at $120 is sold for cash at a discount. Sorry, I do not have math brain, I have English brains. I guess practice makes perfect. That's correct. So how are you so smart? Like she said, practice makes perfect. Or practice makes progress. And we focus on progress and perfection. That's correct, Emmy. Mini. Everybody have a math brain, or just how well trained it is. What was the answer for 18? 18. Wait, where was 18? Oh, sorry. 18 was C, 540. Well, watch back some of the lives now. Liam. Keela, do I have lessons for adults? Sorry, Kenya. Yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, for listening, no problem. Keela, I could look into it. Right now I don't, but it's something I don't mind doing. So let me know. You can DM me. Let me know when you want to sit the exam, we can sort it out. I'm a partner Antoine doing boy. All right. Yeah, Keela, no problem. Okay, a calculator which is marked at $120 is sold for cash at a 30% discount. Alright. How much change would Susan receive if she pays for the calculator with a $100 bill? Okay, we saw this yesterday. Alright. Mini, struggle maths. Struggle is good, eh? Once you get things explained, then you understand. Hey, thanks, Jordan. Okay, good to see you on. Hanging in there, alright. Right, so let's see. So 30% of 120. 30% of 120. So knock off a 0, knock off a 0. 3 by 12 is 36. Now we have to subtract 36 from 120. Again, you can subtract 30 first and get 90, and then subtract 6 and get 84. Right? You do have to subtract the full number one time. Right? Yeah, plenty of repeats all the one. That's correct. Right, and then if she pays with a $100 bill, so again, get a minus 84. And again, you could minus 80 first, and then minus 4 after, and that gives us 16. So the change is $16. Alright. Alright, Liam and Marcus, are we okay with this page? Let's give him a quick Genie chat if you give it that, please and thanks. Right. Alright, in class ladies, how are we with what's on the screen there? You all okay with this page? Yeah. Well, 2 boys online, but yeah, just alright. Good to know you that you correct. Alright. Okay, no problem. Alright, so 21 you said?
Yeah, I corrected up to 20.
Alright. Oh, sorry. 17?
Were they all right? Yeah.
Right, so he earns 45,000. And what the tax-free allowance is, that's the amount of income on which he pays no tax. So out of the 45, he pays no tax on 13. So you take it out of the 13 before you multiply by 20%. Because on that 13, he pays 0% tax. Hold on. The person earns 45,000, right?
Yeah.
Out of that, 13,000 is a tax-free allowance, which means technically you're paying 0% tax on it. And the remainder of it is taxed at 20%. The remainder being 32,000.
Also, and then
Yeah.
get a loan, and then
Oh, okay, yeah. Alright, so Keith, you said you were able to do up to 21?
Yeah, I didn't look at the other ones.
Okay.
But just 22 is.
22 is a binary operation. Alright, hey sure, I know what you're doing.
That was very simple last week.
Alright, so Megan normally saves X dollars each month, but in August she saved $4 less and twice the usual amount. Sharad, and we started about 6:40, so we're about 40 minutes into it. So we just clocked the first 1/3, the first 20 questions out to the full 60. Right, so we're just about 1/3 in. You didn't miss too much. They were mostly repeats, so sure, rather, so yeah, don't worry about that too much. Right, sorry. So Megan normally saves X dollars each month, but in August she saved 4 less than twice her usual amount. All of the other times you saw this question, what did it say? She saved 4 more. So if she saved 4 less, is that, well, I was going to ask is that more or less, but I guess I kind of give you the answer. And twice her usual amount. Her usual amount is X. Twice her usual amount would be 2X. And $4 less would be minus 4 from that. Alright, cool. Alright. Okay, so number 22 is a binary operation. So the binary operation is a star. And for m star n, we want to find the square root of m cubed minus n squared. And then they give us this here. 3 items, although we only had 2. But what do we notice? We have some brackets around 5 star 2. So guess what? Just like a regular order of operations, we'll do this stuff in the bracket first, right? So the first thing we're going to do is use this as the m and this is the n. Alright, so 5 star 2 would be equal to the square root of 5 cubed, sorry, that's not a cube, 5 cubed minus 2 squared. Right, what's 5 cubed? Anybody? 5 by 5 by 5 is 125. And 2 squared is 4. And 125 minus 4 is 121. The square root of which is 11. Now, we're going to use that again. Why? Because we have this 5 on the outside. And it was 5 star, the brackets of 5 star 2. And 5 star 2 is 11. So what we're going to know is we're going to replace that 5 star 2 in brackets with just 11. So now we're going to repeat the work again. So now we have 5, which is 5 cubed minus 11 squared. Well, this is interesting, because 5 cubed is 125, right? And we just saw that 11 squared is 121. So what's 125 minus 121? That is 4. The square root of which is 2. Alright, sorry. Sure, sorry, I know so you commented. Yeah, next year is Jan 2034, right. Alright, that make a little more sense now? Yeah. Yeah, binary operation was never a favorite for most people. I understand. Okay. Item 23 refers to the following diagram of a trapezium. Okay. The trapezium with height h has an area of x squared centimeter squared. The height of the trapezium expressed in terms of x, right? So the area, sorry, hold on, that's not my bad. Right. So the area of the trapezium, right? So if we identify the 2 parallel sides, right? So those 2 sides are parallel. Let's just term them A and B for now. So the top one is A, the bottom one is B, and there's a perpendicular distance or height between them, right? So the area of a trapezium is 1/2 of the sum of the parallel sides, then multiplied by the perpendicular distance between them. Okay, now the area they gave us is x squared. Area is x squared, and that's equal to 1/2 by the sum of the 2 parallel sides. That's 2 plus x minus 4, then multiplied by h, and we're looking to find h. Alright, so first thing, I'll multiply by 2 to kind of clear out that denominator. So when I multiply by 2 on the right hand side, it will clear it out. And whatever happens to one side of an equation must happen to the next side. So if I multiply 2 by x squared, what do I get? 2x squared. Right, and then in the bracket now, I can rearrange this to do x plus 2 minus 4, or x minus 4 plus 2. And long story short, what I would get is I would simply get x minus 2, then by h. And to solve for h now, I have to move this entire bracket. How is that bracket connected to the h? What operation is that? Multiplication. So what do I do when I'm trying to remove something attached by multiplication? I need to use the opposite operation, which is division. And of course, whatever happens on one side of the equation must happen on the other side. So I'll end up dividing 2x squared by x minus 2. And that is option H. After all that, there's just option, maybe option H is option E. Right. Oh, look, Jaziri. Oh, Brandon. Yeah, Brandon. Sorry, yeah, a little late. How about the second part? Alright, just now. Hey, Jaziri, even how you doing, boy? You good? Yeah, Paige said you asked for a drop, but if you couldn't make the timing for her drop. You just get home. Alright. Cool. Alright, Lexi, how about the second part? For which second part, boy? Which number, Lexi? Talk to me. The green? You talking about 22 or 23? Can you see he was drinking punch and can he hit that deep, boy?
No, you
I say drinking punch, yes? As a boxer's favorite alcohol. Punch on. Right. Well, you let her distract him.
No, she was just distracted. Like when I asked something so close, there is like a mosquito.
Yeah, you could move, right? That's your friend, right? Pressure any dance boy, 22. 22? Alright, just now, Lexi. Let me look over 22 for some of the students in the class. Alright, okay, so Khalifa, we have a trapezium and we have the two parallel sides highlighted in yellow. So that's 2 and the x minus 4, which I'll just term as A and B for now, right? The formula for the area of a trapezium is 1/2 of the sum of the parallel sides, which is A plus B, then multiplied by the perpendicular distance, in this case h between them, right? Yeah? Okay, cool. So now we'll substitute in the values. Now they told us that the area, oops, leave this out. Right, that the area is x squared, right? So we're going to put x squared here. So that's equal to 1/2 the sum of the parallel sides. So that's 2 plus x minus 4, then multiplied by h. You with me so far? Okay. Now to solve, now they're asking what the height of the trapezium expressed in terms of x. In other words, how would you transpose to solve for h? So as you know, what's my rule? Right? You have to remove everything currently attached to the h. So first things first, I have to kind of get rid of any denominators. And to do that, I have to multiply through by that same number. So multiplying by 2 on the right hand side will cancel it. And of course, whatever happens to one side of an equation must correct. And 2 by x squared will give us 2x squared. Now in the bracket, right, you could rearrange, right, and put the plus 2 behind. Alright? And of course, minus 4 plus 2 will simply give us x minus 2. And the last thing to do is to move the x minus 2, which is attached to the h by what operation? Multiplication. So we need to use division to remove it. So of course, when we do that on one side of the equation, we do it on the next side. So we end up with 2x squared all over x minus 2 is equal to h, which is option A. Make sense? Alright, I'm gonna backtrack for Lexi, right? Alright, Lexi. So you're talking about the green section, right? So Lexi, what I did is I used 5 star 2 first. That's the pink version, right? Sorry. Right? So 5 star 2, I plug the 5 here, 5 cubed, and the 2 here, 2 squared. So 5 cubed is 125, 2 squared is 4. Right? Oops, sorry. Yeah. Right, and 125 minus 4 is 121, the square root of which is 11. Right, now, that's what 5 star 2 is. So now I have a 5 star on the outside of that bracket, which now has to be considered to finish the working, right? So if 5 star 2 in the brackets is 11, basically what I'm solving now is 5 star 11. So again, the 5 is the m, and the 11 is the n. So I'm doing 5 cubed minus 11 squared. Right? 5 cubed is 125, 11 squared is 121. 125 minus 121 is 4. The square root of which is 2. Right. Alright, so Lexi, let me know if you're better with that now, right? Right, and I see twins asking about 23. Hey Kiara's mom, how you doing? Any questions you see that you want to try? About 24? Alright. Right. You coming in the hot seat? Yeah.
Well, I guess I could just write on.
Yeah. So, there's a little, I find it a little slippery with the writing, but you might find it better. So, you have the tools on top here, you can pick your pen, you can pick your color. Alright. Yeah. Give it a light tap on the screen too. And you want to get a point to it. No? Hold on. Tap on the other side. Right. Yeah. It does that sometimes. Alright. So what Caitlin is doing, right, so you have 3 minus x minus 2. Alright. So you drop the bracket, so you minus in the x and you minus in minus 2. And your minus 2 becomes plus 2. Alright. What we do next?
Put it closer to each other.
Right. So you group together the integers, right? 3 plus 2 will give us 5. I told them so. I said it up. Right, there you go. Right, so you have 5 minus x, which is correct, so that's option C. Alright, cool. Over the NC. You can make all those letters in. I say 5 by n plus 1 by 5 by n plus 2. Alright, so let's just push the page up a little bit. Doing this. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Alright. So when you multiply and you have the same base, what do we call this? Them, right. Sure, so you put 5, like a big 5, and then to the power you can put you can put your heel, you can lay your power on the yeah, you can rest it, like I did the actual piece. Yeah, so n plus 1. Right, so now what we doing?
Well, you could group it together.
Yeah, let's do that there, so that's 5 there, so we have n plus n. Right, there you go. N plus n will give us what? 2n. And 1 plus 2 will just give us 3. Easy. Which option is that? Option B? Alright, lovely. Alright, now let's do about 26. Yes? No? Maybe?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So what do you first port call me? The expanded left hand side?
Yeah.
Alright, let's use that. Let's show the block. So we get 5y. Right, minus 10, and we'll apply that on the other side too. Alright, lovely. Now all we do, we bring all the algebra to one side. Now we can do it to the next side. Yeah. This, I think it's from this side. Yeah, no, we wouldn't do two papers in the same class. Right, so we minus on that, and we add in 10 on the next side, that's good, right? So 5y minus 3y will give us what? 2y, and then 12 plus 10 is 22. And to solve for y, all we have to do is divide by 2. And we get 11. Which is option? Alright. Let me see. Do you have an adoring public? Let me see how on the yeah, but we show it all the time.
Good amount of people.
Alright. Alright, how about the vectors? You know what to do here?
I think so, but it's been a while.
Right. So yeah, so the vector P is the 3, 7. So you have the 3 is the horizontal component, 7 is the vertical, and Q, the horizontal is minus 2 and the vertical is 5. So it's P minus 2Q. So basically you have to multiply 2 by each of the components inside the vector Q, and then you do the subtraction. Now of course you subtract the horizontal, well the top components, and subtract the bottom components.
Okay.
Alright, so we'll just carry this like we keep up. Yeah. These are all good. All the way there, everyone? Not bad. Okay. And I should be down here. Okay. Good. The rest of it already. Yeah, it's do that thing. I don't know why it does that. Right. So 2, yeah, so 2 cubes will be minus 4 and 10. Right. Right. 3 minus 4. Yeah. 7 minus 7 9. Alright, good. That's 27. Alright, cool. So what we do, yeah, you can fin zoom out. Fin zoom out. Yeah. There's the scale. Yeah, I think it's got a little, yeah, alright. Oh, you find right there.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, there's a little bit of custom too. Yeah, I once tried, a guy gave me a key and I put on a pen. And it felt like writing on paper, it felt so
Yeah, yeah, because you could get those screen protectors that feel like paper.
Real cool. Alright, ladies, how are we doing with that page? Any questions, any problems, anything? No? 24. Oh, right. If you kind of.
See one, but it's supposed to be C.
Yeah, see it. You could use.
Chris, what? Chris.
Right. Yo.
What do you get? How you get?
No. It shifted. The page shifted. Relax. Alright. So the back of the pen is supposed to be an eraser, but we need like a particular section of it. So the easier thing to do is to actually use the pen point, click on the eraser, and just you can erase that, and just
I guess all of them tend to.
Oh yeah. Right, and then let's go back to the pen. Right, and then just circle on that. Right, so C, 24 was C, 25 was B, that was 5 to the 2m plus 3, and that one was D, which is 11, right? So 26.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right, cool. I'm going to start with 2 colors. Right, so I have some class people on that. Alright, so Jaziri, Liam, and Marcus, if you guys are good with that, give me a quick G in the chat. If you need me, okay, to re-explain, give me a R, and give me the number.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah. Just Marcus is separate. Alright. Fresh and change, right? Wait, 22? Okay, no, I have 22 already. Yeah, you thing has a delay of about 7 seconds.
Oh, that's TikTok.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did it go? Yeah, it did. There you go. That's a long comment, what? Don't have to value this for my. What? I have no idea. That doesn't like math. Alright.
Move
so,
on to 20.
So,
Someone says.
yeah. Alright. And you can regular zoom in on the touch screen now.
Okay.
Vectors, how are we doing with vectors? You want to show that or you want to sort back in?
This was an option. Well, not yeah. Chris, I swear this whole paper, I think there's 2 new questions on this paper. Maybe you should hop back.
Start again? Alright, no problem.
Give them a break from me.
Oh, alright, cool. Right, we saw back in. Right, cool. Okay guys, so vectors, everybody's favorite, right? So item 28 refers to the following diagram of a parallelogram in which EF is parallel to HG, right? EH is parallel to F. Okay, let's so EF is this line on top here, HG is this line on top here, so those 2 sides are parallel, right? Now with a parallelogram, the properties of a parallelogram indicate that the opposite sides are equal in length and mutually parallel. They are parallel to each other. Now what that means is that the vector, so we can see K is the vector to go from E to F, right? Remember, a vector is how we get from one point to a next by giving us directions. And because EF and HG are parallel and equal in length, the vector along HG will also be K, right? So we could say that EF, EF would be equal to HG, and that's equal to K, right? And also EH and FG are also parallel, right? And equal in length, because again, that's the nature of a parallelogram. So to go from E to H, right, the vector was M. And therefore to go from F to G, the vector will also be M as well. Right, so vector EH is equal to vector FG, which is equal to M. Okay, so EG expressed in terms of K, okay, so this here means the vector EG, as in how do we get from point E to point G? That's what they're asking us, right? How do we get from point E to point G? Right? So again, we have different ways we could go. We could go from E to F and then F to G, or we could go from E to H and then H to G. Let's explore both options, shall we? So EG can be EF plus FG. Now EF is K and FG is M. And then that's actually option A. Right? The other way we could do it, in case anyone did it the other way, is we could go from E to H and then from H to G. Okay. E to H plus H to G. EH is simply given as M and HG is K. And MK and KM are the same. Right? Look at English. What are we talking about? Not sure. Alright. Alright, cool. Alright, 29. If 5 by xy is equal to 4 by 1020, the values of x and y are, okay, well, first things first, let's see what 4 by 1020 will give us. Right, so 4 by 1020 is probably going to give us, what come the man Philip himself? Right, so that's going to give us 40 and 80. And of course 5 by xy will simply give us 5x and 5y. So therefore, if 40 is equal to 5x, we could divide by 5 on both sides to solve for x, which will give us 8. And there's only one option with x equal to 8, which is option B. Now if you want to just be thorough, right, sorry, one second. Yeah. Right, so 80 is equal to 5y. And of course to solve for y, therefore we'll divide by 5 on both sides, and that will give us 16. So right, so option B. Alright. Alright, cool. Alright, let me give my little 5, right? Alright, so what that is. So if you change direction vectors, you have to invert, you'll invert the vectors. Yes, Amira, yeah. It's called inverting the vector. So if for example, we were going from, sorry, let me just change back to the, Amira. If we were going from H to E, right, we'd be traveling along the same line, but in the opposite direction of the vector. And what we therefore have to do is we have to simply invert the vector by putting a minus sign in front of it, or as I said, making it negative. So that's correct, Amira. Alright? 2024 January. 2024 January. Alright, okay, 28, 29. 30, the inverse, okay, so A is given by this, so it's a matrix. The matrices, you know matrices? Alright. So the inverse, alright, so to find the inverse of the vector, it will be 1 over the determinant multiplied by the adjoint. To find the determinant, you have to multiply these two numbers. Multiply these two numbers and subtract. 2 by 4 is 8, 1 by 7 is 7, 8 minus 7 is 1. And now the adjoint is a specific rearrangement and modification of the elements in the matrix. So the elements on the D diagonal swap places, and the elements on the second diagonal, they take the opposite sign to what they had before. So this would be 1 over 1 by 4 minus 1 minus 7, 2. And that is option D. Alright guys, so we're just about halfway through the paper. Alright, cool. No props. People, them switch up on Linux better. I'm not sure Bacon Noob say, but alright. So long, again, 1s and 2s for maths only. Alright, 1s and 2s, there we go. 31. If it took a speedboat 9 hours to travel a distance of 1,080 kilometers, what was its average speed? So average speed is total distance traveled divided by total time taken, right? So 9 into 108 goes 12 times. So therefore 9 into 1080 goes 120 times. So we have 120 kilometers per hour. Right, so that's 28 to 31, right? So Jaziri, Liam, and Marcus, if you guys are good with that, just kindly give me a quick G in the chat. Please and thanks. Right? Right, Julian, if you're all okay with this page? Yeah, I'm not sure what page I'm this today too. Bathroom conference, I suppose. Right, so isn't inverse. Which one? Andre. Alright, so yeah, so Marcus gonna pop open. Alright. So 30. Right, so Andre, so what's that? 31. Inverse. No, h to the minus 1. Yeah, okay, it's h inverse, which is 1 over h. Right? No, okay, so kilometers per hour is also, is distance. Kilometers is distance, and hours is time. So that's distance over time. Right? So you can consider this km over 1 by 1 over h. And using the laws of indices, you could express 1 over h as h to the minus 1. So that's just kind of how they prefer to rotate it, especially in physics. Yeah, Owen, yeah, me too. But I understand where he was coming from. Minus 1 indicates usually an inverse, which is correct, right? But it was the inverse of an hour, but not exactly.
Chris,
Yo.
I expect some tales from you when you leave here.
So here the problem with that, right? So my wife expected me to cry for our wedding. I didn't. She said you're gonna cry. She said you're gonna cry when our first child is born. I didn't. You're gonna cry when your second child born. I didn't. Right?
Okay,
So
you should cry with us.
nah.
I think we're way more Christians don't cry. I think we're way
Oh, but it's the funny part, right? I was watching like a stupid little thing on Instagram with some little kind of background music, and I would feel it coming like, nope. I don't know where it is.
Chris, my goal tomorrow is to make you cry.
Like tomorrow, last day.
Yeah.
After
You've been with Ireland for 2 years.
Yeah, I don't remember. I did this 22 years now. Right?
Yes.
So,
We
But
are
I
the
think
best.
2020.
was that?
We're 2 years.
We're two, yeah.
Yeah.
Before us it was 80.
First page? What's that?
So 22.
I've been here.
Well, actually, in the first year, there was a girl who did Form 5 with me. She repeated Form 5 and did lower 6 and upper 6. And then came back to do stuff after.
That was when Form 6 started coming. Yeah.
No, she's not good. Yeah, I would advise you to think about doing something else if you can,
Yeah, I'm not doing a degree one time. Yeah.
if possible.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing Form 6. I hate that.
I think Form 6 has become a cram fest with the way it's done, where you have a high stakes exam 3 years in a row.
No, exactly. That wasn't it only one exam, like at the end?
Right, so when I did it, it was still Cambridge, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking like 25 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did exams at the end of it. So we had no exams in the lower 6. But then they had
Sorry,
two sets of papers for each subject at the end of it.
Oh.
But I mean,
But we were ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, more or less. But and yeah, so technically speaking, because it was only three subjects plus like we did general paper instead of Caribbean and communication, which was just two essays, right?
I wish.
Yeah. What year? 2024 Jan. Yeah. So can you go back one more time to which page, Emmy? Solomon. 32 is B. Alright, here we go. I'm going to do this page first and then we'll go because I'm watching my time and we have 40 minutes left to do about half the paper, right? So that's okay. So we'll go back at the end. Just make a note of what you want to do and I'll go back and do that, alright? Alright, item 32. So we have a trapezium again, right? The perimeter of the trapezium in centimeters. So I think this was a question we did recently and I didn't see the centimeters part and I say, hey, question of error. Right. How many centimeters in 1 meter? So 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter, right? So if we take the measurements as they are in meters, so let's start with the 0.41 and we're going to go clockwise, right? So we're going to go 0.41 plus, sorry, I have plus, 0.21 plus 0.12 plus 0.18. Now we can add it up as it is, right? So that's 0.62 and then that's 0.92. So that's in meters. And then what we're going to do, if you want it in centimeters, you have to multiply by 100, which will cause the decimal point to shift 2 spaces to the right. And you get 92 centimeters. That is a good observation, Kenya. But it might be kind of small for some people to see. I don't know. It depends on the device.
Because when I learned this, man, that way, since it didn't matter.
Wrong?
And then my papa, obviously, you would have my gosh, but I tried him. No, he would have back. My gosh,
Right.
No, he wouldn't follow you.
If I show Owen about what way? Yeah, she got right there. Even 1 centimeter and 1 millimeters, yes, that's correct. Alright, no problem. Right, item 33, first of the following circle with center. Oh, okay. So the circumference of the circle is 15 centimeters. What is circumference? The total distance around the circle, right? So basically, like its perimeter, alright? The length of the minor arc A, okay, so check it. An arc is a piece of the circumference, a piece or a fraction. And that fraction is given to us by the angle in the sector. What's the total degrees in a circle? 360, right? So if you put 120 over 360, right, you will get the fraction that is of the whole circle that is the sector, right? So what fraction of the circle does the sector account for? 120 over 360, knock off the zeros, and 12 into 36 is 1/3. So the length of the minor arc would be 1/3 of the whole circumference. And 3 into 15 goes, it didn't ask for it. Oh, well, that's B. B, 120 over 360 by 15. Alright. Tyrese, yeah. I hear you. Okay, that's 33. How about next one? Next is, alright. Hey, an aircraft leaves A at 1600 hours and arrives at B at 1930, traveling at an average speed of 550 kilometers per hour. Okay, A and B are in the same time zone. The distance from A to B. Okay, so speed is equal to distance over time. So if we want to find distance, that will be equal to speed multiplied by time. Now the time, it started off at 1600 hours, that is 4 p.m. And it got there at 1930, that is 7:30 p.m. So 4:30 to 7:30, right, that's 3.5 hours. And it's 550 kilometers, okay, so it's 550 multiplied by 3.5. Right, so again, what you can do is you could shift the decimal point 1 space that way and 1 space that way. So you get 55 by 35. and you can do your long multiplication. 5 by 3 is 15, carry the 1, 5 by 3 is 15, add the 1 is 16. 5 by 5 is 25, carry the 2, 5 by 5 is 25, plus 2 is 27. 0 and 5 is 5, 5 and 7 is 12, carry the 1, 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 2 is 9, and 1, so 1,925. Right, so that one was a little calculation intensive. You all seem to be okay with that. Cool, princess boy. We have 99 people on TikTok right now. Wow, it's pretty cool. Who's what is in boy? 16. Alright, cool. That's one thing. Yeah, I think the audio on TikTok, I think. Go again. Huh? 5 p.m.? Okay. Alright. Hold on. So decent cools. You want to oh, okay. Alright, give me 1 second. Okay. So the aircraft, okay, so hold on. The aircraft leaves at 1600 hours, it's 4 p.m. It gets there at 17:30, which is 7:30. Right? So the time taken. Are you all done?
Yeah.
Alright guys. Tomorrow, okay, cool. So that's 3.5. Yeah, man, guys, good luck.
Yeah.
Alright, and enjoy when they're done.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Alright, cool. Well, yeah, I hear. Oh, okay. Alright, cool. Alright, okay. Right, and tomorrow, what is it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the other, yeah.
Just more house.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
You
I'll
can
be
do.
there. Well, if she
Yeah.
I need
You need somebody to?
if she reaches
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Alright. Okay, alright. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright, good job. Alright.
You know, before you came and I thought you were a student. I thought she was a student. So I was like asking her how they were working. And she's telling me, oh, she was working before. And she was like, oh, we're working, whatever. I swore she was in Stonefall. I felt so bad. And she looked so young.
Yeah, she just finished her degree. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so she was like in her early 20s, like 21, 22.
Oh.
Well, you never know. Right, sorry, right. So we have 3.5 hours. And they were traveling at an average speed of 550 kilometers per hour. A and B are in the same time zone. Okay, the distance, right? So again, speed is distance over time. So if you want to find distance, you multiply speed by time. So that means we're multiplying 550 by 3.5. Right? So again, you can do it as it is, right? The long division part or the long multiplication part. Long multiplication, I mean. Right. Alright, thanks to the likes, guys. Ooh, we got 9,000 boy. Wow, that's pretty nice. Right. So again, if you do it straight as it is here, right? So 0 by 3 is 0. 5 by 3 is 15, we're going to carry the 1. And then the next 5 by 3 is 15 plus the 1 is 16. Right? Now by the 0.5, right? So 0 by 0.5 is 0. But hold on, we actually have to put that behind here, right? So we'll put 0, right? That's 0. 5 by 5 is 25, carry 2. And the next 5 by 5 is 25, plus the 2 is 27. So that's a 0 here. As a 5 and 7 is 12, carry 1. So 16 plus 1 is 17 and 2 is 19. So 1925. Or again, you could also do this as 55 by 35. Right? Because basically what you would have is you'd have 550 by 35 over 10. And that will cancel with that. Alright, okay, cool. Oh, we have 12,000. Wow, that's amazing, guys. Wow. Okay. Right, 35 now. Item 35 refers to the following diagram, which shows a circle with center O and the major and minor sectors indicated. Right? You like this method? Alright, cool. Glad to hear that. Right. So the minor sector has an angle of 60 degrees. Right? So the minor sector is like a slice of pizza, and the major sector is the remainder, right? If the area of the major sector is 515, then the area of the circle is, alright. So guys, let's go back. So the key here is the angles in the sectors, right? So what's the total degrees in a circle? 360, right? So if we already have 60 degrees here, the remaining angle has to be 300, not so? Alright. So if you consider that 300 over 360, so you knock off the zeros. Now 6 into 30 goes 5 times, and 6 into 36 goes 6 times, right? So the major sector is 5/6 of the whole circle, which by default makes the minor sector 1/6. Alright? Now, they're telling us that the area of the major sector is 515 square centimeters, and they want the area of the whole circle. So check this, right? We want to scale up from 5/6 to 6/6 as the whole, right? If we were somehow able to find the 1/6 piece, we could simply add it on to the 5/6, right? Now, the 5/6 piece is 515. If we literally divide it by 5, right? 5 into 5 goes 1 time. 5 into 15 goes 3 times, right? So 5/6 is literally 1 pieces of 1/6 each. So by dividing the 515 by 5, we see how much each 1/6 piece has, right? So now that we know that this is 103 and the larger area is 515, to find the total area, all we have to do is add it together, right? So you can say 515 plus 103, right, is 680. Or you could have said, look, if I know 103 is 1/6 and I want the whole, that's 6/6. So 3 by 6 is 18, 1 by 6 is 6. So 618 square centimeters. Alright. Okay. Alright, ladies, you okay with this? Yeah? Alright. Right, Jaziri, Liam, and Marcus, just give them a quick G in the chat if you're good with that, please and thanks. You look smart, not hard, that's you. And if you work hard and smart, or if you look smart at the end of working hard, well, boy. Alright, guys. We're going to have to kind of increase the pace a little bit here because I'm watching the time. Item 36 refers to the following diagram which shows a cuboid. Okay, the volume of the cuboid is 320 cubic centimeters and the height is h centimeters. If the length of the square base of the cuboid is 8 centimeters, what is the value of h? Okay, what they are saying, ladies and gents, the length of the square base. So what they are saying is that this length here and this length here are both 8 centimeters. It's a square base. A square has equal sides, right? How many people today? Just one. Sorry, hold on. 5/6 represents the major sector. That's correct. Alright, cool. Sharada, they do all our calculus. That's correct. Why they don't in the maths? Sharada, that's a good question. I don't know. It's in the paper. 2, you could use it for paper. 1, I guess they wanted to catch your tail. I don't know. But that's why I had to train your brain to be a calculator. Alright? It takes time and effort. So that's just the nature of it. Any tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow is the last day. 6:30 to 8:30. We're doing Jan 2025. Right. So the length of the square base is 8 centimeters. What is the value of h? Right. Okay. So a cuboid, right? The volume of a cuboid is length by breadth by height. So the length and the breadth are 8 and 8, right? The volume is 320. That's 8 by 8 by h. As we know, 8 by 8 is 64. So to solve for h, what would we do? We would divide by 64. Right. So check this, right? 320 over 64. Now, you could use 64 if you know it. You can use 8 if you know it. Whatever works for you, right? 8 into 64 was 8 times. 8 into 320 was 40 times. And then 8 into 40 was 5 times. So h has to be 5. Cruelty. Bread. Amira agrees. I hear you. Okay. 37. The area of a triangle is 60 square centimeters and its height is 10 centimeters. What is the length of the base? So the area of a triangle is base by height all over 2. So 60 is equal to base by 10 all over 2. So 2 goes into 10 5 times, right? So 60 is equal to 5 by b. So to find b, we will simply divide by 5 on both sides. So b is equal to 12. Alright, a square has the same perimeter. Hey, there's no one from yesterday I was talking about. A square has the same perimeter as a rectangle whose lengths are 9 and 15. What is the length in centimeters of the square? So you have 9 and 15, 9 and 15. Sorry, no. Wow. Right. When you add up all four sides, 15 and 15 is 30, 9 and 9 is 18, that's 48 centimeters. If it was a square would have 4 equal sides. So sorry, these are s's, yeah? Right? So that would be 4s. And if 4s is equal to 48 centimeters, to find s, we simply do 48 divided by 4, which is 12. Felicity, very good. That's 12. Right. Items 39 and 40 refer to the following frequency distribution, which shows the average mass in kilograms of a group of children in school. Okay. Hey Vikash, thanks for sharing, man. Are you the same Vikash who used to drop stage to school? Sorry. Just checking. Right. The lower limit of the median class, and then how many children have a mass of at most 50 kilograms. Okay, hold on. The lower limit of the median class. So first things first, we have to find out how many kids in all, and we have to do that by adding up all the frequencies, which we'll do with a CF row. Alright? So how do we do that? We simply add as we go across. On the first column, we'll just have 29. 29 plus 47 is 76. 76 and 24 is 100. 100 plus 39 is 139, plus 11 is 150. Now, median is the halfway mark. So 150 divided by 2 is, so we can do the 75th item. Now look at it here. In this class interval, we have from item 30 to 76, because we have from 1 to 29 here. Alright? So if the 76th item is here, or items 30 to 76, it means the 75th item is there as well. And the lower limit, right, so this is the class interval, this is the lower class limit, upper class limit, so the lower limit is 31. 61, no, sorry, not 61. You know who. Alright, how many children have at most a mass of 50 kilograms? Right, at most means 50 kilograms or less. So it means you're going from here backwards. And what that means is that the answer is simply 100. Right? So you have, if you count all the kids in those three intervals, up to and including 50 kilograms, you have a total of 100 kids. Alright. Jaziri, Liam, and Marcus, just give them a quick Genie chat if you do with that. Brandon, just give him a minute, right? you. Alright, ladies in class. Oh, thanks, Marcus. I'll see you next. I can come back. Yeah, ladies in class, are we okay with what's on the screen there?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that? You good there? Good, no problem. Okay. Okay. The lower limit of the median class. So each of these things here are called class intervals. The smaller number in each of them is the lower class limit, and the higher number is the upper class limit. So we're looking for the lower limit of the median class. The median class is which of these does the median does it lie in? Now, when we add up all the frequencies, which is how many people fall into each category, we get a total of 150. Median is the halfway point. So because it's group data, we just have to divide by 2. We don't have to do any kind of +1 or anything before we do the 2. Hey Ashiba, thanks very much. I appreciate the love. Sorry, one second. Get some water. Okay, thanks guys. Yeah, right. So if it's 150 people in total, the halfway point is the 75th person, right? And the people will be in the frequency. So you have from 1 to 29 here. The first 29 people are in that group. The next 47 people are there, which would give it a total of 76 people. So from the 30th person to the 76th people lie in this interval. And if it's between 30 and 76, the 75th item must lie there as well. So the lower limit of that median class was 31. Alright, so I hope that helps Brandon. Alright, okay. Alright, so we had the 2/3 mark. So we have 20 to do in less than 20 minutes. So guys are going to have to kind of crank up the speed here. Alright, so I hope you guys okay with that. Okay, item 41 refers to the following table, which shows the frequency distribution of scores obtained by students on a test. The modal score. The modal score is the score obtained by the highest number of students. The highest number of students is 12. Therefore, the score attached to that is the modal score, which is 8. Right, Felicity and China, very well, very good. Item 42 refers to the following diagram of a cumulative frequency curve, which shows the marks obtained by 200 students on a test. The lower quartile of the marks scored by the 200 students. Okay, the lower quartile, otherwise known as Q1, is if you take your 200 and divide by 4. That will give us 50, but it's not 50. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the mark that the 50th person got. So we have to go on this axis here. Now, these 10 small blocks give us 40 in total. So each block is 4. So you have 44, 48, and 52. So between the 14 and the 52 is 50. So you can read from across there and then read down. So it looks like 30, so pretty close to 30. Yeah, so 30. The lower quartile is 30. Alright? Yeah, Jody, that's correct. Very good. Alright. Right. Ladies, it was 8 for 41 and 42 is 8. Right? So Liam, Marcus, and Jaziri is going to mark with G if you're good with that. You okay with that? Or you need to explain anything? Alright, cool. Alright, cool. Thank you guys. Right. Item 43 refers to the following bar chart, which shows the ages of children who took part in a survey. Okay. A child is selected at random. What is the probability the child is more than 4 years old? Okay. So the height of the bar is the number of kids. So on the horizontal axis we have the age, right? So for 4 years you have 3 people who were 4 years old, 4 people who were 5 years old, 2 who were 6, 5 who were 7, and 1 who was 8. What is the probability that the child is more than 4 years old? So more than 4 years is each of these. So that's 4 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1. Right? So 4 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1. And we divide that by 3 for the total number of kids in the first place. That's 6 and 5 is 11. That's 12 over 15, which is 4/5. Hey, thanks, Andre. I see in the gifts. Thanks very much. 44. 600 students sit an exam. The probability of a randomly selected student passing is 4/5. How many students are expected to fail? If 4/5 is going to pass, it means the remainder, or 1/5, are expected to fail. And if you find 1/5 of 600, right, 5 was in the 60 12 times, so the 600, 120. So we have 120 students. Do over 43, Lisa. Okay, cool, no problems. Okay. The child is selected. What is the probability the child is more than 4 years old? Okay. So to be more than 4 years old, you have to be either 5, 6, 7, or 8 years old, right? We had 4 children who were 5 years old, 2 who were 6, 5 who were 7, and 1 who was 8 years old. So 4 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1 is 12 kids who were greater than 4 years old, more than 4 years old, right? And in total, if we added the 3 to the mix, 3 plus 12 is 15. So you put the total number of people who are more than 4 years old over the total number of people in total. That's 12 over 50, and then when you divide by 3, 3 goes into 12 4 times, and into 15 5 times, so you get 15 there. Right? So I hope that helps, Lisa. So time running. Yeah, boy, time running. Right. Okay, cool. Where we at there? Right, 44. Okay. 45. Which of the following functions represents the equation of a straight line? That's option C. Right? That's because it's in the form y equal to mx plus c. Once you have a power greater than 1, or you have a negative, or x is a denominator, it's not a straight line, it's a curve. The point where a linear function crosses the vertical axis is the y-intercept. Right? The vertical axis is the y-axis, and the point where it cuts it is the y-intercept. Felicity, if it was the horizontal axis, it would be the x-intercept. Alright? 47 refers to the following arrow diagram. It describes a relation. 2 is a factor, right? This one is x is a factor of y. Right? So 2 maps on to 8 and 10. 8 and 10 are actually multiples of 2. 9 maps onto 3. 9 is a multiple of 3. 4 maps onto 8. 8 is a multiple of 4. So if it said y was a multiple of x, fine. But the other way is that x is a factor of y. Okay, so that's it for this page. Ladies in class, are we okay with this page here with 43 to 47? And just really have one Marcus. I know I'm moving a little fast, but I tried to finish before half past. Just give me a quick G figure for that, please and thanks. Yo. Oh, right. Just really have one Marcus. So page say, as tomorrow is the last day, I should make an effort to come in person. But again, that's up to all of you. Right? Ray, I do in math to have English tomorrow. Well, Josie, so tell Paige to find me a drop. Yeah. But Ray, hey, I think we had a quote from the great Kylan Thomas is my name. I did what I could, and I could what I didn't that exam. Anything. Bless the Lord. And what couldn't be done, did not be done because it could have did. And we praise God. Alright? Yo. Just repeats if you travel to Starlight, she can pick you up. Anyhow, there we go. Right. What is the y-intercept of the straight line that? Okay, to find the y-intercept, it needs to be in the form y equal to mx plus c. The coefficient of y is 1. Here it is 2. To get rid of that 2, we have to divide by 2. So, and 8 over 2 is 4. So it's actually minus 4 because it's minus 8. Sorry about that. So minus 4. Yeah, Ashiba, please don't write on the, well, Ashiba is a multiple choice. So it wouldn't matter if you write on the exam. The other shade letters. Alright, if h of x is that, h of 4 is equal to 3 by 4 minus 2 all over 5. 3 by 4 is 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. And 10 over 5 is 2. Can I 48? Wait, 48. Oh yeah, right. So for 48, to find the y-intercept, we have to put it in the form y equal to mx plus c. And then just identify what's going on here. Beavis, what are you doing? Right, just identify what the value of c is. Now, what I was saying is that the coefficient of y here is 1. Here it was not 1, it was 2. And it's connected by multiplication. To remove something attached by multiplication, we have to use the opposite operation, which is division. And whatever happens on one side of an equation must happen on the next side. Right? And then when you divide the 8 by the 2, you get 4. And because it's a minus 8, it's a minus 4. Alright? Hope that helps. 50. What is the value of f inverse? What is the value of f inverse of 1? Okay, check this. You don't have to find an expression for f inverse, no. All you have to do is put the function equal to whatever the, well, f inverse is, go on. Right, now what we're going to do here, we're going to bring across the integers here, carry the algebra across this. So we're going to minus 1 from both sides, and then add 2x. 5 minus 1 is 4. If 2x is 4, we divide by 2 to solve for x, and we get 2. Alright guys. Alright, we're in the last 10. We have a little less than 10 minutes. Delicate flower. By chance, is your name inspired by Hollow Knight, the game Hollow Knight? Because there's an item in it called Delicate Flower. I'm just curious. I could be very much off. Nope.
So you're right, and it's unless like this.
Yep.
That's good though.
We get
But
marks.
we just call it, so that's already.
We get marks and we
That makes no sense. But we just put the B, A, B, C, and that. What was really because
It's a
it
common
comes
sound in both people.
That's really
Alright.
extra though.
Yeah, Ashiba, I'm muting, don't worry about it. Alright, the values of x at the points where that intersects the x-axis are, okay, if it intersects the x-axis, that's where y is equal to 0. So we're going to let 4x minus x squared equal to 0. You factor out your x, you get 4 minus x equal to 0. If you multiply x by the bracket and get the only way to multiply and get 0 is if you multiply by 0. So either x is 0 or 4 minus x is 0, in which case 4 is equal to x. So 0 and 4. That is the one there. Right, there we go, 52. A line is perpendicular to that line. Perpendicular means it meets at a right angle. What is the gradient? All we have to do, if two lines are perpendicular, the product of their gradients is minus 1. So if we have the gradient of line 1 and you multiply it by the gradient of line 2, if those two lines are mutually perpendicular, you get minus 1. So if we have the gradient of 2/5 and you want the other gradient, let's just call it m2, we'll divide by the gradient we have. Long story short, we have minus 1 divided by 2/5. What's the protocol for dividing by fractions? Change divisor, multiply, and invert the divisor. So you're going to get minus 5 over deuce. Item 53 refers to the following diagram, which was a translation. Right, in the diagram, the translation by which AB is mapped onto A prime, B prime is, okay, so how do we get from 2 to 4? What's the shift? We need to shift by 2 on the horizontal, and from 5 to 6 as a plus 1 in the vertical. So that is 2, 1. You can cross check. To go from 5 to 7, that's a plus 2. From 7 to 8, that's a plus 1. So again, that's a 2, 1. So that's option B. Alright, so Liam, Marcus, and Josie, you going, yes? Pressure. Just give me a quick G in the chat, guys, if you're good with that. Ladies in class, are we good with this page? Alright, good. Alright, we're closing in there. We're almost home free. Oh, we know this one already. P, Q, and R, S are parallel. And that transversal cuts them, which means we have Z angles or alternating angles at play, which means that P and Q are equal to each other. Which of the following statements best describes the relation between P and Q? Right. Now a ship sailed 8 kilometers due east from A to B. It then sailed 6 kilometers due north to C. North, south, east, west. It sailed east from A to B. So if A is here, it had to sail this way. Come on, man, for the baby yourself. This way to get to B. And then it sailed north. Come on, man, for the right. To get to C. So that's 8 and that's 6. That's option C. 8 kilometers due east and then 6 due north. Right, cool. Alright, that's that page. Let's see if we could speed through this page. In a polygon, angle A is equal to x, and angle A and B are supplementary. What is the size of angle B? Angle A is x and A. Okay. Sorry. When two angles are supplementary, do you know what that means? It means that they add up to 180 degrees. Right, so what that means is that angle A plus angle B is equal to 180. If A is x and we don't know what B is, how do we solve for B? We'd have to subtract x from both sides. That is option D. Alright. 57 refers to the following diagram. It shows the graph of the line y equal to x. Right, if the line y is anti-clockwise, that's uncle clockwise, right? Alright, cool. Right. 90 degrees anti-clockwise, right? So we know this. Oh, come on, Philip. Right? That's the line y equal to minus x. J. How do you pronounce that? J-A-E-J-M. Is this Jam? 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 Right. 57. Alright. In 58, the following diagram which shows a triangle within a circle. In the triangle, LM and LN are equal. So if two sides of the triangle are equal, what kind of triangle is it? Isosceles. Which means that this angle here, hold on. Okay, let them other focus. Yeah, there we go. That's A. What's the size of the angle? Oh, sorry, it's alpha? Alright. Well, what? Okay, this is center of the circle, right? Is that straight line passing through, not so? So what is called that? A diameter. A diameter cuts a circle in half. And if you build a triangle on a diameter, that's the angle inside the circle, which is 90 degrees. So, the total of alpha and 90 is equal to 180. So alpha plus alpha is 2 alpha. And 180 minus 90 will give us back 90. And if alpha is equal to, if 2 alpha is 90, alpha is equal to 45. Yeah, I think we haven't seen this one before. But it wasn't bad. Answer for 56. D, 180 minus x. Victoria. Ooh, guys, only made it 30. Sorry, I'll take a picture of that real quick. Sorry, I'm not sticking. Just give me I know it'll still be there, but I'm gonna take it one time. Oh. Where? Boomerang. Or tomorrow? Yeah, Owen, tomorrow, 6:30. Alright. Item 59 refers to the following diagram. It shows the angle of depression of x from z is 35 degrees. Now, we should know that the horizontal line of sight at the top here and the horizontal distance here are parallel, which makes this transversal giving us a z angle. So this angle here is 35 degrees. Okay, if y is 12 meters, if y is 12 meters from z, okay, then the base xy is what? Okay, now, no, it's the only one, but, well, hold on. Best option here is tan. Right, so we know it's not A or B, and we know that because the 12-meter length is opposite to the side that the angle we have. The side opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, which we neither have nor are looking for. The resulting side is the adjacent side. Right? So which ratio uses tan? Which ratio uses opposite adjacent? Tan. So tan 35 is equal, yeah? Alright, no problem. You could jump out. 12 over y xy. So you end up getting like a fraction here, so we can't use this one. So we know it's not C, so the answer had to be D, but let me explain why.
D?
D. Because watch me, this angle here will be 55. Right? And relative to 55, this side here is now opposite, and this side here is now adjacent. So tan 55 is equal to opposite over adjacent. And now when you multiply by 12 on both sides, you get xy. So watch out for this. Alright? A quick scroll through here, no problem. Alright, just give me 1 second, I'm finishing on the flash, right? Oh, well this is A. Right? Because relative to x, this is the opposite side, this is the hypotenuse, and if you put opposite over hypotenuse, that's sine of this angle, sine x. Alright, yeah, we'll do a little screw through real quick, right? I'm going to just my class out. Alright, Liam and Marcus, that's about it. We have one more day tomorrow, 6:30 to 8:30. Hope to see you guys tomorrow. I'm gone. Bye. Yeah, sure, pretty, no problem. I'll be on for a few minutes again to scroll through, so somebody was asking for it, right? We got 32.
Bye.
Okay, later.
Guys, I got through so much math.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Also, I got all the numbers, right?
I'm going to ask, so I'll be getting the marks.
Yeah.
Alright, well, tomorrow then.
Yeah.
The last day tomorrow. Thank you, as you go.
So not thank God, but
Bye,
thank God
Julie.
that's when the most is sick.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.
Later. Alright. Please explain 58. Alright, no problem. Okay, Julie, I'll see you. Bye. Alright. Okay, so what were you saying for 58? Real good, guys. Alright, item 58 refers to the following diagram, which shows a triangle within a circle. Okay, the triangle LM and LN are equal. That's this side across here and this side across here, which means we have an isosceles triangle. And that means that not only are the two lengths equal, but the angles to which they are opposite are also equal to each other. Right? And it's not actually an A, it's actually an alpha. Alright. what is the size of angle alpha? Now, the thing is, this line here is a diameter. A diameter cuts a circle in half, so you have a semicircle. And the rule says that the angle in the semicircle is 90 degrees, right? If you build a triangle on a diameter in a circle such that all three of the vertices touch the circumference, the angle opposite diameter is 90 degrees, right? Now, the sum of all three angles is, in a triangle is 180 degrees, right? So alpha plus 90 is 180 degrees. Alpha plus alpha is 2 alpha, right? Now 2 alpha plus 90 is 180, which means that 2 alpha itself must be 90 degrees. And if 2 alpha is 90, alpha is 90 over 2, which means that alpha is equal to 45 degrees. Alright. Answer for 60 was E. You have a physical call or uncapping? I have a physical class, they were here. I just decided to share what we do with you guys to help out. But I might not be able to do that going forward after tomorrow. We'll see. A quick scroll through. As Emmy. Alright. If Emmy is still there. Alright. Oh, Antoine. Yeah, I had a Google class going on too. Wait, hold on. Renee was 50. It was 59. Renee, oh shucks. All right, give me 1 sec. You are here. All right, cool. 59. Yeah, 59. Yeah. That one's a little tricky. I understand. Okay, so let's take it from scratch real quick, right? I can't stay too much longer, guys. I had to get home to help my wife with the kids, right? Mother-in-law there, but she had to get drop home. She there for 5 hours now, so yeah. Okay. Item 59 refers to the following diagram, which shows the angle of depression of x from z. Wait, why am I on black ink? That doesn't make any sense, right? It's 35. Now, we should acknowledge that this horizontal line of sight and the ground level are parallel, right? Which means that this transversal is creating a z angle, which means that this angle here is 35 degrees. Now, this angle on top of here is also 90, right? Now, if y is 12 meters from z, right? Then the base xy is in meters, right? Okay. So relative to 35, this side across here is opposite. The side opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, which means that this side is adjacent to 35. Now we're neither looking for nor do we have the hypotenuse. So we're working with opposite and adjacent. And the only ratio that does that is tan. So tan theta is the ratio of the opposite length to the adjacent length, right? Now if we did it with tan 35, this is what would happen. I think I'm going to go to the slightly slimmer point, right? Right, so tan 35 is equal to opposite over adjacent. And if we try to solve, sorry, 1 sec, give me a sec, guys. Alright, sorry, one more. Yeah, if we try to solve that, what would happen is we'd multiply xy first by tan 35, and to solve for xy we therefore have to divide by tan 35, and that's not an option, right? So we know a and b are out because they use cos and sine, which we wouldn't use because we're not using the hypotenuse at all, right? So, and if tan 35 is out, it means that tan 55 has to work, but let me explain why it works. So the angle on top of here, right, is 90 minus 35, which is 55. Relative to the 55 degree angle, this side that we're looking for is actually now the opposite side. the hypotenuse doesn't change, which means that this side is now the adjacent side. So if we did opposite over adjacent now, for tan 55, right? So the tangent of 55 degrees would be equal to xy over 12. So to solve for xy, you have to multiply by 12 on both sides of the equation. And that gives us that answer. Alright, okay. Emily, I had a cut and run, but here we're going on. The live is already up on YouTube, sorry. So what I'd invite you to do is you can check the link in my bio, or you can just go on YouTube and look up adaptive tuition, and the live should be there once again, right? Is it a coincidence that we do the exact same people? Probably not. I guess great minds think alike. Alright. Yeah, and tomorrow is the last one, guys. Jan 2025, and then we close off the 2025 exam season. Right? Hoping to hear from as many of you as possible, right? As in how the exam went. If there are plenty repeats, if there are plenty new things, and if you're matching up, like how soon you work with the exam. Now, guys, I'm not saying rush to the exam. Read your questions carefully. As we've seen, sometimes they bring back things exactly as they were before, and sometimes, like in this case, they change it up. In all the other questions, the 12 was down here, and we have to find this side. So we were still using tan, but we were using it differently, right? So, guys, read your question carefully, right? Anyhow, folks, I have to go. It was a pleasure. Thank you for all the love. I think I had like near 200 or 100 of you guys following on, and 32,000 likes is amazing. I think that's the highest I've ever gotten. I don't know for sure, but it really, I appreciate you guys very much for doing that. Yeah, man, Sir Kenny, how you going? Thanks very much. Alright, yeah, Emmy, no problem. Happy to help. Alright, guys. Okay, guys. Yeah, vibrant and God's chosen. Later. Okay, YouTube. Yeah, Brandon.